Namaskar students, today I am going to start a new chapter and the name of the chapter is Renaissance. It is a chapter 11 of your ICSE board history and history book. And before starting off any chapter, I used to go in the history of that chapter. And as we all know, it is a chapter related to the Renaissance. Renaissance means new birth that was happening in Europe. Let us discuss what has happened before this Renaissance. Europe was under the garb of Dark Ages from the 11th to 13th century. Dark Age means no one is allowed to express his feelings, no one is allowed to express his spoken words, and whosoever tries to express anything which goes against the mandate of church and pope, he would be killed at that time. But now there is a new revolution that has been coming in Europe, and that new revolution, new thought process is giving way to a new order which will define the coming European order, and also it will also influence the world at large, whether it is social effects, whether it is political effects, whether it is economic or cultural effects. Renaissance will affect the whole world at large. As we all know, in Europe, this Renaissance will occur from 14th to 16th century, but in India, it would come in the 18th and 19th century. So let us discuss Renaissance in your book. First of all, it is very important to understand the meaning of the Renaissance. Renaissance means that it is an intellectual movement which was inspired by the Greco-Roman culture in the 14th to 16th century, which has brought a great change in the field of art, literature, paintings, and culture. So this is a movement which was inspired by the Greco-Roman culture. Why it was inspired by the Greco-Roman culture? Because Greco-Roman culture was very great. There was freedom of expression, there was concentration on the human, and people are having the freedom to do whatever they want. And kings also provides the opportunities for the people for the development of their personalities. So Renaissance is also a freedom. It's a rebirth. So the word Renaissance was used by Julius Michelet in 1855. After that, a book named as Civilization of Renaissance in Italy, there was a mentioning of the word Renaissance. And after that, what is Renaissance is all about? It has also been given by our ex-Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru. He was very much inspired by the Renaissance work. As we all know, Nehru was a historian. He had written many books like Discovery of India, A Glimpse of World History, and he told about Renaissance that it is a revival of learning, development of art, literature, science, and European language. And according to the writer of this book, it is the age of knowledge, intellectual, moral, and artistic and commercial work. So, concentration on the knowledge, intellectual, moral, and artistic and commercial work. So, this is the Renaissance according to the writer of this book. Now, let us discuss why this Renaissance is happening in Europe. What are the causes behind it? The first cause is fall of Constantinople. Constantinople in today's world is in Turkey, and Constantinople used to be the seat of Eastern Roman Empire. Roman Empire was basically divided into Western Roman Empire and the Eastern Roman Empire, and the capital of Eastern Roman Empire is Constantinople. Now, after the fall of this Eastern Roman Empire, the power goes into the hands of the Turks in 1453, and because the Turks are Muslims, so all the writers, all the peoples who were there at the time of this fall in 1453, they moved towards the Italy, especially in the city of Florence. They had taken their works, their books, their literature in ample amount, and all this literate people, all the intellectual peoples now settled in Florence. So because of this intellectual people who had moved from the Constantinople to Florence, there may be possibilities that it may be the cause of Renaissance in the Europe. Okay, so this is the first point. After the fall of Constantinople, all the intellectual people from Constantinople moves towards the Florence. So this may be the reason for the cause of Renaissance. Second can be the decline of feudalism. Feudalism is a system which does not allow any freedom. It is under the dominance of church. It is under the dominance of pope. So church and pope did not allow any freedom, and the system feudalism is basically created by these people only. So they will not allow any freedom. So after the decline of this feudalism, there was freedom of expression and speech. Now people are started challenging the authority of pope and church as well as the feudal lords. So this may be also the reason for cause of Renaissance. Let us come on the third point. Third point is new trade route. Now the Europeans are eager for the new trade routes. Why they were eager for the new trade routes? Because now the Constantinople, which is the way between the Europe and Asia, you have to go through the Constantinople if you want to go from the Europe to Asia. Now Constantinople is in the hands of Turks, and Turks will never allow any European to pass through their territories. So there is a need for new trade route. Now let us check this on the map. Like here it is Constantinople, and now if you want to move from Europe to Asia, so you have to pass through this Constantinople. But now this Constantinople is in the hands of Turks, so they will not allow any people to pass through their territories, especially the Europeans. So they have to look for the new routes. Like this route is also there, this route is also there. So new routes has been found because of this. So new trade routes or the voyage of discoveries is also the reason for Renaissance. Fourth is your spirit of inquiry. Now the Europe is having a condition where the people are challenging the dominance of Pope, who is controlling the church. Now people are questioning it. So because of this questioning, now people are trying to make this earth heaven instead of thinking of the heaven. People are now trying to make this earth heaven instead of thinking of heaven. So what has happened? There will be a development of a spirit inquiry, which is also the cause of Renaissance. Next is your humanism. Humanism means now your art, architecture, paintings, your intellectual creation, your discoveries all will concentrate on the human at large. They will now not concentrate on God. They will now concentrate on humanism. Now the paintings which were concentrated on Jesus and Mary now will be made on the basis of humanism. Now Jesus and Mary will be painted as a human, not as a god. So there is a development of humanism. So this is also the cause of Renaissance. Now development of printing press. Development of printing press is very, very important because printing press has been invented by a person whose name is Gutenberg. And what Gutenberg has done? Now Gutenberg has invented a printing press. So after the printing press, the literature work will go to the common people at large number, because printing press did its work very fastly. Apart from it, Bible, which is used to be written in Latin language, now will be written in local language like your Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, English. So the more people will having the Bible in their hands, so now they can challenge the dominancy of the church or pope. Now everything which will be said by the pope will be cross-checked by the common citizens, because now they are having the Bible in their local languages. Now let us discuss what is the impact of Renaissance. Firstly we have discussed the causes. कारण क्या था Renaissance के. अब करते हैं impact. Renaissance का impact किस चीज़ पे हुआ? सबसे ज़्यादा हुआ आपके आर्ट पे, because now the art is basically is now, before that the Mary and Jesus used to be a god, but now they are shown as an ordinary mother and child rather than the religious symbols. Now there is a concentration of Greco-Roman style on the art. So this is the impact on art. Now let us discuss some of the important artisans at that point of time. First is your Leonardo da Vinci. He is a very all-rounder man, and he is having an interest in art, architecture. He is having an interest on art, architecture, sculpture, music, anatomy, astronomy and engineering. And he has come out with a very beautiful piece of work which he has done in the city of Florence. Like, he has painted a Mona Lisa painting. You must have came across this painting of a lady. Second is your Last Supper, which is which means last dinner, in which Jesus is saying to its followers that one of us will betray. And who was that person who is betraying? He is Judas. You can see this painting, like Jesus is sitting. Here is the Jesus, and he is saying that one of us will betray, and Judas is here, and he is in a very sad gesture because he is the person who is betraying. So everyone is asking question, oh my God, who is that person who will betray us? Here is also all are discussing that who is the person who is betraying Jesus. So this is the painting Last Supper, which is made by Leonardo DiCaprio. Next is your Virgin and the Child, in which Mary is shown with his infant Jesus. Now let us discuss the second painter, who is Michelangelo. He is born in a poor family, and he had done a work on sculptures, murtiyan, and architecture and paintings. He was also there in the Florence city, so we can know that the Florence city is very important for the Renaissance, because most of the work of Renaissance has been done in this city, Florence. Now what type of work he has done? He has done a painting on the vault of Sistine Chapel in the Vatican City. Then he has also done a work on the wall in Sistine Chapel called as Last Judgment. Last Judgment means end of the world. Third is the Fall of Man. Fall of Man means how the morality of the man is falling. Next person is Raphael. Raphael is also a genius person. He is also there in Florence. So Florence now is becoming a very important place for the development of Renaissance work. And what he has made? He has done his work on Sistine Madonna. Now let us discuss the next thing, that what is the impact of Renaissance on literature. We have done the impact on art. Now let us discuss the important impact on literature. First person who is a laureate is Petrarch. He has done his work on Sonnet to Laura, and is also called as the father of humanism. It means most of his work is based on the humans, not gods, and his works has done a work on political, economical and social aspects of life. He has beautifully depicted these three phenomena of life: political, economic and social aspect of life of Europe in that time. Next is your Dante. He has written his work called as Divine Comedy, in which there is a imagination journey of a pilgrim to the next world. It portrays the man's feelings and emotions. Next is your Boccaccio. This is not important. After that is Erasmus, which is important. Erasmus has done a work called as Praise of Folly, in which he has made fun of the corrupt kings, not all the kings, only the corrupt kings and the churchmen who are working on the human errors, as these corrupt kings and churchmen are not doing work according to the wishes of the people. So what Erasmus has done? Erasmus has written a big book called as Praise of Folly. Imagine a situation if this book is written in the time of Dark Ages. So what should happen to Erasmus? He would have been killed at that time. But now this is the period of Renaissance, so he is having the freedom of speech and expression. So he has written a book on Praise of Folly, but still he was alive. He was not killed by the king. Next is your Machiavelli. He has written a book called as Prince, and he is also called as the father of modern political philosophy. Even it means that we will also read this Machiavelli in our political science in the first or second year of your college. He has written a book Prince, which is based on the principle of secularism. Secularism means religion should be separated from politics. Religion should be separated from politics. So Prince is based on the secularism. Secularism means religion should be separated from politics. And the book also shown the picture of political stability in Italy at that point of time. Next is your Chaucer. After that is William Shakespeare. Shakespeare, we all know, is a person who we read in English literature, and his famous work is Romeo or Juliet and Hamlet. So this is my short lecture, and in the next lecture I will discuss with you people impact of science, economic effects, social effects, and cultural effects, religious effects of Renaissance. So this is for now. Thank you for listening to me.